myself. Oh, Marion Pope is on. Let's see here. We do have. There I am. We do have an online session going on, so that is our introduction to our online session. So we do have prospective students and guests online listening to this session, so just in case you're wondering what's going on here. So my name is Lee Euler. I am the Program Director for Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management here at Kendall College. And just want to introduce a couple of my friends and colleagues tonight. And the second person over here is Chef Brian Schreiber. And Brian Schreiber is our field marketing. He's also an alum from Kendall College. And he'll be dual presentation with me, answering some questions as well and coming into the conversation. We have our enrollment advisors here tonight over here. And our enrollment advisors, if you haven't already known them or spent some time with them on the phone, they're here tonight to just kind of walk you through the tours of the building, as well as help you with any applications or just start dates and things like that. We also have another presenter that will be presenting later, Carrie Schultz, and I'll do a nice introduction to her later. She is an alum that will be speaking about her journey through Kendall College and what she did after. And we have some two special guests tonight, and our special guests come from National Louis University. And I don't know if there's been any news lately, but just recently we are in agreement to transfer our programs to National Louis University, but maintain the Kendall College brand. So just so you know that we have some representatives here tonight, just in case you have some questions on that. As well, we can answer to any of the programs. So for National Louis University, I have Alyssa Robinwitz. I did it, Robinwitz, sorry. And Andy Koratari is here as well. Oh, he's right over there. And they are here from, again, National Louis to help you understand a little bit of that process that we're just currently going through. All right, so thank you. So Kendall College, this is the culinary info session, and it's specific to culinary because it's one of our pride and joy, but we also have other programs here at the school. We have a hospitality management program in Bachelor Arts, and we have a business program as well as early childhood education. Just to let you know a little bit about myself and why I'm here, not only because I'm the program director, but alum of Kendall College when we were up in Evanston. Did anybody know that we were up in Evanston? Does anybody? Yeah? Okay. So the college itself, you did. Darius is like, I knew. I read the webpage and the history, right? Kendall College has been around actually since the 1930s. And we've been in Evanston all the way up until 2005. We transferred down to this building. So Kendall College has a rich history of not only culinary arts and a reputation to the industry, but also to professional studies and work studies and early child education. So I know you're not here for those programs, but I would just like to share that information because I think it's important to know that we've been here for a while and we plan to stay, and we plan to continue our rich history when it comes to working professionals. And that's really a lot about our school and our craft, is that going through that. So just like you sitting there, I once was looking at what I wanted to do. I have a little bit of a different journey. I started off as a chef before I went to culinary school. And some of you might have that journey as well. Others might be thinking, oh, I've never been in the kitchen at all. So we get all sorts and all different levels to enter our program. And we'll go over some of the degrees that we have in just a couple of slides. So just letting you know that we've all been in your shoes, all our alums here. We've all sat in your seats before and said, should I do this? Or some of us sitting in your seat saying, I can't wait to start. Can it be tomorrow? Can I just get in the kitchen now, right? So Kendall is ranked #1. I know, we like to show it. We're very proud of it. Our industry partnerships and professionals will say it over and over again. Who do you hire? They hire Kendall grads. They hire in baking and pastry and culinary arts. And it's not just restaurants and hotels. It's also in catering and professional chef. It's in working groups at Soldier Field that hire our chefs. So there's so many different opportunities. I particularly come from restaurants and hotels. That was was my life and my career, but there are so many opportunities that you'll hear that this career and this degree can take you. And that's one of the reasons why we invited Carrie here tonight, to just give you a little bit of different perspective of what this degree can do for you. So let's talk about the programs, okay? How many of you here are interested in a culinary and Bachelor of Arts, doing the full thing? Oh, great, okay. And how many of you here took some classes when you were in high school? Like you had a culinary, okay, good to know, good, all right. And then how many of you here have worked in the industry? All right, okay. No, that wasn't that many hands. Okay, wait, how many of you want to work in the industry? Yeah, okay, everybody, great. Okay, we don't have to raise our hands anymore. All right, so we do have the associate's degree in culinary arts and the associate degree in baking and pastry. And then we have an accelerated culinary arts program along with the culinary arts in Bachelor of Arts. Or I said that backwards, Bachelor of Arts in Culinary Arts. We do have some other degree completion options with our other schools. Typically, the info session and you're sitting here are really looking into culinary, so we keep that focus here tonight. But there are a lot of other options that we give you, especially if you're looking to get more business or more hospitality. There's ways to finish off the associate degree and then go into those other programs. When it comes to the associate degree in culinary arts, it is a very rigorous degree that we have. It starts off at a very basic level of a foundation that you'll learn. So for some of you that raised your hand that have worked in the industry, the first and second block might be a little bit slower paced than you're used to, but it will correct any already habits that you may have gotten on your own. So it's still a really good foundational piece to start with. I know, as I said before, I started as a chef. I was a kitchen manager and worked many years before I went to culinary school. And there was a lot of things that I said, well, I did it this way. And the chefs would tell me, great, that's not a wrong way to do it, but let me just show you a better way. Or let me show you a way that maybe you might be able to then apply and take in and just do it a little bit differently. So it's not always maybe wrong or right. What we show you is how to cook for the masses, right? We're showing you that how to be productive, how to do production. We show you and we start to do that on a very basic level when it comes to one plate. So you'll be taking classes that are just individual plating, or you may have a partner and you create a plate together. And then we have some really great courses in the associate degree that do food service. Now we're talking. That's when we get the adrenaline. That's when we get to go in, we get to pump out 300 plates, 400 plates, 700 plates, right? So that's when we really get to learn about how do we cook in the industry, because it's very different, right? You're gonna get this question all the time when you're in culinary school. What's your favorite dish to cook?
My response is you never ask a chef that question.
Exactly. And why is that, Brian?
It's like asking your parents to choose their favorite child. They have one, but they won't tell you. So.
And you can answer that. You can say, I like this cuisine or that. But it really is, and Chef Michel Coutreau, who's one of our Director of Operations and Faculty, he will absolutely say, it doesn't matter what I want to cook, it's what the guest wants. And that's a really important thing when you try to put yourself into culinary school. There's just so many different ways out there to learn how to cook. I think we've gotten to the age where now we can watch a YouTube on everything, right? You can watch YouTubes on cooking, okay? You can self-direct yourself out there. But Kendall will teach you how to cook professionally. And I think that's the really big piece here, is that we're looking for you to get that knowledge so you can apply it in the workplace, or you can find a career path that suits you. So all our degrees, let's see here, faculty. So we can tell you about all the degrees, we can tell you about the classes. I wish I had the rest of the faculty here with me tonight, because really you can't do any of that without the amazing faculty that we have. We have some really great faculty that not only has the experience in the industry, but it has the accreditation through the American Culinary Federation, has master level accreditation through different culinary organizations and baking and pastry organizations. So up here, we just show a little bit of that, but there's so much more. The diverse faculty that we have from the many different countries and different resorts and places that they've worked. So it's a very diverse faculty, as well as a rich faculty in knowing the industry. Along with the accreditations that we have, we also have them worked in so many different types of the industry. I was just talking today to one of our faculty members who teaches a food service and public relations class. It's like, interesting. That's in our culinary BA program. But that class in general, it really is about the media, right? And how we portray food. So it's a little bit of marketing, it's a little bit of that. But really, he was a journalist, and he still is, for the Chicago Tribune, and is a full-time faculty. He actually writes for the Tribune when it comes to food articles. So really, again, getting that big perspective of what can you do with the degree, who are you learning from, and learning about all these different opportunities that you can have. All right, I'm going to let Brian take this slide because I can boast a lot about our food service, but I'll let Brian talk a little bit about the real-world experiences that we have here.
Thanks. So here at Kendall, we actually have 3 restaurants that students will go through, actually 4 quantity of food production classes. Our cafe actually makes up 3 different classes, all right? So starting off, you'll get into the beginning classes of Block 1. You're going to learn the basic fundamentals. The potato is going to become your best friend. You're going to develop a relationship with it, right? After you do that, you learn a little bit about the mother sauces. You'll move into breakfast cookery, all right? Breakfast cookery, you're going to learn about regional American breakfast cookery. So I'm sure those of you guys who have had a chance to travel around the United States, you've noticed, you know, there's different trends in food based on migration patterns from people from different countries, how they've migrated here. So if you go up to Wisconsin, you'll notice a lot of cheese, a lot of bratwurst, right? A lot of Germans actually set it up that way. I always find that interesting about food history. You can tell kind of migration patterns by that. So you'll learn regional breakfast cookery. You'll get a little bit into international breakfast cookery, learning the same things, focusing on a different country every day. At lunch becomes quantity of food production, where Lee was saying, you're going to learn how to cook for 300, 400, 500 people that you're going to be serving all within an hour and a half. Can you guys think about that? Yeah. Right after I graduated Kendall, I actually had the opportunity to go into the Kentucky Derby, and we cooked for 167,000 people in 2 days. It makes Thanksgiving dinner look like a piece of cake now. Oh, no problem. Right?
Which you will be asked to cook every year from now on, by the way.
It's true.
If you are not already doing it.
So for lunch, you'll get into quantity of food production. Okay, so when you go on the tour, you'll see all the different stations, from action stations where you're making things a la minute or a la carte, which means to order or at last minute. You'll see the chef's table where you get a lot of different scraps coming up from all the classes. And as chefs, we're not just going to throw away those scraps, right? And we're also not just going to reheat them and put them out, because we're not going to serve leftovers at our restaurants, are we? So then it's up to those students to figure out, okay, how can we turn this into a dish that we can now serve, right? And then on top of it, we also have to cook for 300, 400 people at the same time, okay? Then you'll get over to things like the grill, the pastry station. We have something called the Kendall 30 here. I don't know if you saw food over there. There's always food, always. So, so that's a little bit about lunch service. Then as you get more towards the end of the program, your last quarter before you go out on an internship, you're going to work in 2 restaurants. The first one is going to be our quick service restaurant. So when you think of a quick service restaurant, what do you think of? You guys heard that before, quick service restaurant? Kind of like fast food, not quite, like a step up. Like Red Lobster, not quite. Think like the difference between like a Taco Bell, right? So fast food, and then Chipotle, right? Were you going to say Chipotle? I didn't. You're sitting so far over there. Here,
Oh.
here's some sunglasses. I know it's very bright out there right now. So think the difference between like Taco Bell and Chipotle, right? Taco Bell, again, a little bit more fast food. Whereas Chipotle, what does it have? Has higher quality product, higher price point. There's some kind of service aspect to it, right? They're making the food right in front of you. And then there might, and in some quick service restaurants, there's even some sort of alcoholic beverage that you can buy along with it too. Yes? Mm-hmm. Kind of like bistro, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So like Panera Bread would be considered a quick service restaurant, right? Anywhere where you're seeing that more high quality food, higher price point. And then what's going to happen is a chef's going to come back at you with the business aspect of it, right? And you're going to be costing out more menus. You're going to be talking about how much waste do you use, AP versus EP, which you'll learn all about in Block 1, okay? So you're going to get a lot more into the business aspect of it as well. You'll also get that quarter before you go on an internship. I think that's one everyone waits for, is the dining room, okay? The dining room is actually a Michelin recommended dining room. So after all of our students go through there, they can actually say that they work for a Michelin recommended dining room. It's our fine dining room. It's open to the public for lunch and dinner. $18 for a 3-course prefix menu, $29 for dinner? Mm-hmm. $29 for a 3-course prefix dinner for the dining room, okay? And you're going to work front of the house. You're also going to work back of the house. The front of the house, you're going to learn proper service etiquette. I believe you get a certificate.
Yeah, so we're Bassett certified as well as ServSafe sanitation certified. So you'll get a responsibility in alcohol service is the Bassett certification.
So you'll get a little time behind the bar as well. And then as well as the kitchen. The kitchen down there is actually one of the first green educational kitchens in the U.S. So when you're on your tour, you'll notice there's actually, different technologies integrated into it. So the hood system has sensors in it that turn it on and off by themselves. So it's not wasting energy and continuously running. There's 2 large induction cooktops on either side of the line. That works by 100% energy transfer, okay? Whereas when you work on a gas stove, you actually lose about 80% of the energy around the side of the pot. And you'll also notice, if you can look closely, you'll notice that there's actually pilot lights in there that shut off. You'll see pilot lights on the majority of any type of commercial stove that usually stay lit 24/7. On the ranges downstairs, those actually get shut off and they get relit for every service. So that way we're not wasting gas. So that kind of breaks down the restaurants for us. Mm-hmm. Did I do a good job?
You did great. Like you've been here before. I'm just kidding. Something that Chef Schreiber was talking about when it comes to the waste, it actually took me to a different place. It took me to a time when I was up in Evanston in the culinary school, and I remember taking lunch service, and the chef Polly at the time, he actually at the end of service took the trash can that we were dumping all of the plates when they were to come back. We scrape and put in the dish area, and he actually took the trash can. Oh, I'm sorry. Before he picked up the trash can, he put a bunch of trash bags on the floor. And then we were all like, what's going on with Chef? I think he's gone crazy. Like, what's happening? And he took this big trash can and he just dumped it out on the floor. We were all like, oh my God, somebody call somebody, something's happening. And he brought us all around and he said, what do you see? And I remember thinking about that. I was a chef. I was a kitchen manager for many years before I went to culinary school. And I understood income statements, and I understood about waste and how to control it. But I never thought about just dumping the trash can in the middle of the kitchen on the floor and looking through it and saying, this is where you can see the most, because this is what came back. And why did it come back? Why are we seeing whole pieces of chicken that weren't eaten on the plate? Why are we seeing, a bunch of the vegetables? Was there something wrong with it? Did people not like it? And it was just one of those moments where you thought, something as simple as just looking at what's coming back, right? I know a lot of chefs that like technology and they go into their offices and they look at reports and they pull reports, and they can do that all day long. But then there are the other managers that go out and just observe everything, and you get so much just from observance of what's happening around you. And I'll tell you, in culinary school and in education, it's the same thing. Just keep your eyes open, because it's not just about what you're learning and that interaction. It's about everybody else around you. It's about all the things that are happening, what you see from other people, how you interact with other people. Don't go into the mindset that just because you're in the kitchen, you don't have to talk to people in the industry. You don't have to serve people in the industry. You're just serving people in a different way. And it's really important that you understand that, especially in culinary school, you make those connections, you make that networking happen, and you also observe people because you are in the people business. Whether you think that you're hiding behind a stove, you're still in the people business, okay? It's an industry that will consume you. You look like, you said earlier that you worked in the industry. How many hours do you work? Yes. 55. That's pretty average. Okay? Not trying to scare anybody, all right? I don't want you to come through here going, well, that's different. Because you are going to hear from an alum that doesn't do that, that works differently and has a different schedule and does different things. Maybe it's still 55 hours, but maybe it's not in one place, right? So you'll get that information, but it's true. You're going to be on your feet a long time when you're in the kitchens here, all right? And you're going to be here learning from other people and getting to know other people. It's really, really great environment to do that. We have some really great class sizes here where, you know, some classes might be a little bit larger than others. Mostly when you start out, the class sizes are about 17 to 23 in some of the first blocks that you get to. And then once you start getting into the specialties, it gets down to about 15, 10 sometimes, which are really great moments. Enjoy those moments with the chef. Okay, because you're not always have that. And it's a really great place to be able to network. Our chefs are always here for you to make sure that you get the right network and the right information and even kind of guide you and open up some doors for you. So they are very active. We have some part-time faculty too in our programs that still work in the industry and work for us as well. So we have some active people. Let's see here. We'll talk about a couple of, these are just some of the competitions and awards that we do that we're very proud of. We also have lots of other organizations and awards that we do for honors and things like that throughout the school. But this is something that some people like when it comes to culinary school. They want to be competitive. Well, we do have those opportunities as well. So if some of you that did high school competitions in culinary arts, and I know Chef Schreiber here, he actually goes and judges some of those and sees those. He works with a lot of high schools that do that. She's shaking her head. Do you know Brian? You do? All right. Oh, wonderful. Are you a graduate soon? A high school graduate? Oh, great. Congratulations. How many other seniors are here? Nice. Okay, good. Congratulations.
Are you ready for the regional coming up?
He asked her if he's ready for the regional. Oh, boy.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
They're good recipes, right? I wrote them.
Oh. We're having a moment. Sorry. She's so excited about that. We used every cup. I love it. Well, good. Well, we'll talk to you later. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. And it's true. We work with a lot of our chefs go back to the high school competitions that are out there, and we do a lot of judging. We have some of those come on campus as well. So it's a really great interaction that we can have. And then for some of you that are saying, I'm not interested in competitions at all, that's fine. You might find a love for it once you're here. It's not for everyone. I myself never thought I would be competitive. I'm just never did the competitions, but just competitive in other ways. So
I did a lot of
you
competitions when I was here. I did the San Pellegrino almost in a chef competition.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Went all the way to Napa Valley where I won their mystery basket competition. That was they put us up in a 5-star hotel in Napa Valley. Like I literally walked out onto my porch and you got the vineyards,
wow,
the hot air balloons flying by, and I'm like, is this a postcard? And then you get to the competition and you have Michelin rated chefs and James Beard Award winner chefs like Michelle Richard. You have Dana Cowan, the editor-in-chief of Food and Wine magazine. So it was a very prestige competition. Competitions are a great way to learn about yourself, It's a great way to really hone your skills. And it's also a great way to get scholarship money, right? For those of you guys who your parents are helping you out with funding your education, help them out, right? Apply for those competitions, apply for those scholarships, because there's a lot of money out there that goes unclaimed every year.
And just so you know, if you don't have the competitive edge, we still have lots of opportunities here at Kendall to work in the industry as student volunteers. Christine Franz, our director of events, was here while Melissa and Kate are here that work in events. They can definitely testify that not only do they hire a lot of students to work events, whether it's the kitchen or the front side, but we also have calls every day. We're having this festival. We need 5 students. We have an upcoming competition that they want 20 students to help. They're constantly calling us. The James Beard Awards that we host. NRA is a huge, right? The National Restaurant Association. Get used to that, NRA. They will actually call us for a large amount of students and interaction, and you get free passes to a lot of these festivals too when you get to work with them. So it's a great perk. Let's see here. We have our placement statistics when it comes to our graduates. So we have a 96% was the last statistic that was taken for us in 2017. And this is a really great statistic because, again, it's talking about not just what you're going to do here, but what you're investing in, right, to then do later. So this is a pretty proud number that we have. We do have also graduates from Culinary, like just kind of listing of different opportunities and things. You'll hear a lot of positions when it comes to restaurant and hotels, but there's so much more out there. And again, I didn't even talk about baking and pastry. So we have some really great opportunities. Any baking and pastry out there? Okay, good. So there's so much different in that world as well, right? I have a best friend who is an executive pastry chef, and she's also ACF certified as an executive pastry chef, does many competitions. She was on Chopping Block in a couple of seasons, and she's amazing, but this isn't about her. She's not here. But she went through the whole gamut, too, when it comes to baking and pastry. She was working in some bakeries a while. She worked in restaurants, and she was working in the pastry department. She stepped over to the savory side a little bit when she was in pastry and working in restaurants. So there's so many opportunities. I think something great about our program is that when you start baking and pastry, culinary arts, you're starting in the same foundations. You're starting with the same knowledge and understanding of how kitchens work, right? How product ideas and the understanding of professional cookery. And then you get to kind of branch off then into those specialty fields. We currently have a master sugar artist, Jing Palasquezi. He's on our part-time faculty right now, also owns a bakery. A lot of faculty own bakeries in our baking and pastry department. We have a certified master baker. That's part of the Baker Association, as well as wheat stock, and that's wheat stock. That's if you're bakers out there, you know what wheat stock is. So we have lots of organizations and affiliations there. All right, and then when it comes to our strong industry connections, lots of great speakers around the industry, as I said earlier, contacting us about employment. We have employer spotlights that come on to the campus to employ you, whether it's for internship or actual job employment opportunities. So a lot of different connections out there. These are just, as you could tell, we tried to squeeze as many as we could on this one slide. This is like slide that you would never do. We would never teach you to do, but we tried to squeeze as many as we could on here so we could just show you just a small, even snapshot of some of our industry connections. And then as we get closer to our guest here, Carrie, talk about our alumni. So really important to know, again, since we've been around for so long, we have alumni like Ryan McCaskey and Jose Garces that we've that have been in touch with us, Beverly Kim from Parachute that does things with us. And we have a lot of Sean McLean, who Green Zebra just closed, but really well known, lot of alumni that come back, give back, that will hire our graduates. And then we have some recent ones that we put up here that, anybody heard of Honey Butter Fried Chicken? Come on now, right? Okay. So if you haven't, you should go. They come to campus quite a bit. We had a great function called Fried Chicken and Champagne. Well, that was fun. They were there. It was a lot of fun. And then we have Evelyn too, who graduated with us a couple years back, but is doing a lot of cooking, restaurant cooking, soulful cooking as well. Just a lot of great opportunities with our alum. I talk to alum constantly on the phone. They're always contacting me saying, do you have somebody special? I say, everybody's special. What are you looking for? We have alum that constantly want to give back and come in and guest speak. And we have alum that always, they say, come to us. I've taken lots of groups and students to Naha and to some lettuce restaurants just to kind of say, let's go out, let's see what the industry is, because sometimes it's not always about what's happening here. It's about, as I always point to, the windows out there. So that's just a little bit of our alumni. I'm going to introduce you to Carrie Schultz here and have her tell you a little bit about her journey through Kendall, how she got there, and what she did after that. She is a cookbook author, as well as a personal chef and a culinary consultant. And she has an amazing story. I just met her for the first time, but she's well known within the building before I was here. So, Carrie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. So I have kind of a very atypical Kendall story in some ways, because I grew up like always cooking for my family, and I would not, my mom wasn't a really good cook, so I took over the kitchen, and always wanted to go to culinary school. And my father was adamant that it wasn't a real career, couldn't go. So the only other thing I was really good at was math. So I ended up going to business school, ended up having this great career where I was an emerging market strategist, lived in Europe and traveled all over the world. But I always was cooking. And I would take classes at the Cordon Bleu in Paris or in London, and I would just always somehow figure out a way to do like a cooking class when I was in Asia or things like that. So eventually, I just wasn't happy in the financial world. So I was like, okay, I'm going to finally go to culinary school. So I bit the bullet about 7 years ago. And so when I was doing research where I was going to go, at the time there were 3 principal schools here in Chicago. And what really drew me to Kendall was just the depth of the program and the quality of the classes. You get opportunities to kind of work with product here that you don't get at other schools. I remember once wanting to practice duck, and I probably was given 8 ducks that I had to break down, and then just over a few days just made the duck breasts and the legs over and over and over again until I got it right. And it's those kinds of opportunities that you really don't get elsewhere. And, I never wanted to go into the restaurant industry. Working in a restaurant was never what my dream was. It was really always wanting to teach people or wanting to just cook good food for people. And when I first got here, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if there's opportunities outside of just the restaurant industry. But what's great is you come here, you get these great fundamentals, you can network unbelievably, and then there are a lot of different paths. So, when I was here, I realized very early on that what you pay for a semester, you can, with the same amount of money, you can take 13 hours of classes and you can take 19 hours of classes. So I just took as many classes as I possibly could, because I thought, this is kind of the one time I'm going to be here. I might as well learn from as many people as possible and learn as many techniques as possible. And then, talking about the volunteer opportunities, I volunteered at Gourmet at Chicago Gourmet, at the time, one of the chefs here had a TV show, and I went and did prep work for him, and eventually, like, kind of helped run the prep area for the show. I did stages at great restaurants throughout the city. Got to work with people like Rick Bayless, at an event. And, you just don't get that kind of exposure and don't get those opportunities at just any kind of culinary school. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit biased, but I would, I really do think that I got these incredible fundamentals here. And then besides just being in the kitchen, I mean, I already had an MBA from the University of Chicago. So I had the business background. But, classmates of mine who took some of the management classes and some of these other courses, a lot of culinary schools just produce cooks. Kendall produces people who can actually be chefs, run businesses, and run restaurants, because you learn about product ID, you learn about it isn't just what price you're going to charge on a menu, but it is like, how do you figure that out? How do you do the costing? How do you find the best suppliers? How do you know what's good or what's bad when it's coming in? How do you just keep the kitchen clean? Like, how do you learn all of these things here, and sometimes you don't even realize until you're out in the world, like, what you're learning. And as Lee said, you do get your sanitation certification here. On my internship, one of the critiques was that I was too diligent in my sanitation in the kitchen. I don't think that's such a bad thing. I mean, I'm sure we've all eaten at restaurants where you see it's a little dodgy, and so I'd rather know what the right things are. So, that's good. So anyway, once I finished at school, I started working as a personal chef. I've been a personal chef to George Lucas for a couple years. I have taught, yeah, and I mean, plenty of other people, but not quite as famous. And let's see, I've taught at a kids cooking school and managed a kids cooking school. I've done restaurant menu consulting. I've done food styling. I've done recipe development for restaurants, testing. And then probably my biggest accomplishment is last August, I had a cookbook published. And so I was very excited. It's called the Asheville Bee Charmer Cookbook. And it's a kind of a healthy cookbook using honey and but a lot of different kinds of honey. And if you look through the book, though, as I kind of look at the recipes, there's recipes in there that I kind of developed when I was doing practice sessions with some of the chefs here. And there's other recipes that probably have their base in something that I kind of learned here and then have modified along the way, or different influences. So there's all kind of my history is wrapped up in this book. But I guess I'm just here to say that you can really do a lot of different things. And honestly, the cookbook came about. Do I have time to just indulge in the story? Okay. So friends of mine own a honey store in Asheville, North Carolina. And I went, and as I was tasting honeys, all these recipe ideas kind of, I was like, oh my God, this one's would be great with duck à l'orange. This one would be great in chocolate mousse and, whatever. So at the end of my visit, they said, we really want to produce a cookbook from our store, but we can't do it. You're a chef. Would you do it? And I'm like, sure. What do I know about it? 2 days after I came back, I saw a friend of mine who's in the industry was going to a panel discussion with some cookbook authors called How to Write, Publish, and Market Your Own Cookbook. So I'm like, it's $25, it's 2 weeks later, I'll go. Well, there also happened to be a publisher at this panel discussion. I just went up to him after the discussion and I was like, hey, my friends just asked me to do this. I don't have a proposal. I don't even have a fully fleshed out idea, but this is kind of the gist of it. Is that the kind of thing you'd be interested in? And he goes, here's my card. Send me an email. Send him an email. And it's like, let's go to lunch and discuss my idea. And so he sent me back a document saying how to write a cookbook proposal and said, we'll meet in 6 weeks. So I wrote a proposal. I did my research. We had lunch, and 2 months later, I had a book deal. So you've got to take advantage of any opportunities. And I'll tell you, coming here, you get a lot of opportunities and you meet a lot of people who can end up helping you. So that's my story.
All right, come on up, Brian. We're going to go ahead and open up for questions. So do we have any questions out there that you've been thinking about? Anything that we can answer for you? We can also do some one-on-one questions as well.
We got some cool sunglasses. Or the flu's going around, so we also got hand sanitizer.
The flu's not going around here. Oh, yes, right over here. Sure, absolutely. So the program that is set through Culinary Arts, the question was about our general education classes. If you are looking to get into the associate degree or the BA, you will have integrated general education classes throughout the quarters. So a lot of our classes run currently right now where, depending on what block you're in, they might run 12 days in a kitchen. And then you, at the same time, on Monday and Wednesday, you would have like a gen ed class that you would take for the entire 10 weeks. As the same time as you're going through that 12-day meat class. And then after that 12-day meat class, there might be a day, and then you go 12 days to a fish class. So depending on, again, what path you're looking at, as well as what block you're in, determines the kitchen classes. But to the general education classes, they're fixated within that. So we try not to overload too much, because we know that, one, a lot of times you sitting in there coming to a cooking school, we know that you're more tactile learners. So we look at more applied learning methodologies and things like that. So our general education classes also incorporate that, where we're trying to give activities that relate to what you're doing in the kitchen. So if you're taking a math class, you're actually getting more examples when it comes to costing or recipe costing. So you'll use those math skills and apply them into the industry. So there is some integration in that piece as well. Does that answer your question? Wonderful.
Chef, we have an online question.
Oh, okay, can we answer?
From
go ahead. Darius, you're next.
An online question from Towner. They said, you said that the program is going to transfer to NLU, but the Kendall brand will be retained. Can you explain that further?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll have Andy come up, and just in case there's something that you want to say additionally. So our Kendall brand will definitely remain. National Louis University, we just started agreement with them. Andy here is actually an alum from the Kendall. He's a Kendall graduate as well, but he works for National Louis University. He couldn't get enough, so he had to come back. No, I'm just kidding. But for you online, what's their name? Towner. For Towner Online, and for all of you out there, basically we just started agreement with National Louis University to, they're going to be creating a third college, which is Kendall College School of Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management, so under National Louis University. Andy, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and as part of that agreement, and hi everybody, we will be building a state-of-the-art floor for Kendall on our Michigan Avenue campus, which is on Michigan and Adams. So pending any approvals, which should be done by July, we will start building immediately after that, and it will take between 9 to 12 months to finish that, and we're really excited, and it will be a beautiful and state-of-the-art kitchens and hospitality classrooms on that floor. So there will be the Kendall floor. But to answer the question, yes, absolutely, the Kendall brand will be retained. It will be the college, the college as it exists today in terms of the branding with culinary and hospitality. So we absolutely value the Kendall brand. So,
thank you. Darius, you said you had a question. Oh, great! Wow, nice. Right. So right now we're still working through the agreement, but basically until we actually have the state-of-the-art facility built on the other location, we will be in this facility. So you will be taking classes here. So if you're looking for a recent start date, you will be in this location. If you are a junior or sophomore out there, or you hadn't planned on starting in 2018, there might be some difference in that conversation, but we don't know the exact plans yet. When it comes to the official move date. So as soon as we have that information, our enrollment teams and our marketing will definitely be sharing that with everybody. Yes? Say it again at the beginning. Oh, okay. So for Associate Degree of Culinary Arts, there is one internship that you do. It is the same length as a quarter. Oh, you got some sunglasses. It is the same length as a quarter, so it's a 3-month internship. We go on the quarter system. So what you're looking at is 3 months. The technical, when you talk to career services, though, if they were in the room, they would say 400 hours. So they're looking at a specific hour requirement to the internship. The internship, when it comes to culinary arts, can be really up to you to decide what that's going to be. So if there's something that you would like to go ahead and try out, like a catering company as opposed to a restaurant, we definitely have those connections and those opportunities. So what we do is we have some professional development courses that you take prior to internship, and those courses prepare you through resume, through interviewing, but also through networking and connections. We do have career fairs as well that help you with that networking to the internships. Does that answer your question? Oh, great. Another one online, and then I'll come to you. Let's see here. What does it say? Can you apply early?
So students their applications are good for 1 year out. So 1 year from your start date, you can apply and begin working with an enrollment advisor right away.
Wonderful. Great.
All right.
Oh, and then you had a question?
Feel fancy. So I'm looking at the accelerated program. I already have a bachelor's degree, and when I got that, I had an advisor who, one for my writing degree, one for my film degree. I was wondering if you get something like that, or a guidance counselor, or someone in the career services that you can talk to one-on-one about finding a career post.
Yeah, that's a great question. What's your name?
Madeline.
Mallory?
Madeline.
Madeline. Oh, Madeline. Oh, it's like the French pastry, Madeline's. You're perfect. You're perfect. You're in. Okay, so when it comes to the different types of degrees, and especially the accelerated program, which Carrie actually went through as well, that is absolutely right. So when you first enroll, you work with an enrollment advisor, but then once you're here, you do have an actual academic advisor who helps you through your degree plan. And then career services, we have specific counselors and also instructors that do the professional development and that work with you one-on-one. So they'll work with you in the classroom in your registered classes, and then they'll work with you one-on-one with appointments and things like that to help you get what you need to further the career, or even to work while you're in school. So we have a lot of great accelerated. Accelerated is actually a very popular program of ours because we do have a lot of prospective students that are in your situation where we've gone to school a little bit, or we're not really sure when it comes to the degree itself, but you want the cooking, so we go right into the accelerated culinary arts. And when it's accelerated, it doesn't necessarily mean it's faster. It just means that you're taking out a lot of the general education classes because you don't need them. You already acquired them through another degree. So just so you know, accelerated doesn't mean she only gets to do it in 6 months. She's still here for a while. All right. Any other questions? I think we're going to wrap it up with maybe one more question, and then we'll do some questions face to face. Go ahead. Oh, I think that's going to be more. Brian, can you answer that? Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends on the competition. So if it's an external scholarship, they'll take the higher of the scholarships. Or excuse me, if it's an internal scholarship, they'll take the higher of the scholarships. If it's an external scholarship, usually you can stack up as many of those as you'd like.
So just for those that were online, the question was about competitions and the scholarships. I think they didn't hear that, so I'm just repeating it to the online people. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. If you have more questions for our representatives at NLU, for myself, for Chef Brian, we'll be here. We're going to go ahead and start, or even our guest, Carrie Schultz here as well. Schultz. Why did I say Schultz? I have no idea. I'm so sorry. Schultz. Forgive me, it's late. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go ahead and do the tours. So I just need a little bit of direction. Melissa, could you help me out here?
Can I go ahead and add 2 things real quick? 2 things.
Yeah.
2 things. So first of all, one, again, thank you all for being here. Chef, I wanted to point out while you were talking, the one thing that I love is I loved as I looked around, at one point or another, you saw just about everyone. I saw you smiling. I saw you. Well, you might have been smiling because you found out you had to work with people, but that was that was different. But you started looking around and you start notice you can see people smiling, and that's always a nice feeling for us because we know that hopefully you're feeling like you're in the right place. The thing that I always tell students is you have to love what you do. Love what you do, and I guarantee you success will follow you from there. Okay, so we are going to have some tours set up, but if you guys are interested in applying today, we will waive your application fee. We have some computers set up over here where I'll be there to help answer questions, help you fill out your application, and we can help you take that first step. All right.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chef Brian. Melissa, go ahead and let us know about the tours.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa. I work for the events department. I encourage you to get a little snack or a beverage if you'd like to take a tour. You can find all of that right over there as you walked in. We're going to have Dana. Dana, would you mind raising your hand? We're going to have this group of the room here. If you'd like to take a tour, you can meet Dana on this side of the auditorium. And then we also have Hazel and Robin. Hazel and Robin are going to meet the rest of you in the elevator lobby on the 5th floor just down the hallway. You will all see the same spots throughout Kendall, so please feel free to start where you'd like, but please get a beverage or something to snack on while you're on the tour, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Yes, yeah. What's that? You can if you want. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, but you can if you want to leave something behind. So, like if you want to leave the stroller behind and just carry, if you can do that, or you can push, whatever you want. You push, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.